Yep.
One of my engineers, Carrie, just came in and said, ask her. She's one of 8 girls. Ask her when was the first time she got a brand new dress as opposed to a hand-me-down dress.
Well, I grew up in the 80s. That was kind of my teenage years were in the 80s. And my hand-me-downs were kind of from the 70s and 60s because it was by the time it made it down to the last girl, it was pretty old. But boy, am I glad I grew up. And I was raised primarily by my father. And so he never made us feel like victims or we were lesser because I think he knew if he made us feel that way, he'd have 8 girls living at home longer than he probably wanted us to live at home. So
Wow.
I'm so thankful for my upbringing. It was wonderful. And my father and mother are both deceased, but I think they'd be pretty proud.
I'm sure.
They might think I'm a little crazy for walking away from a nice paycheck, but I think they would be pretty proud considering what's happening in this country right now.
My guest's Twitter handle is at Kari, Kari Lake, at Kari Lake. All right, Kari, we have a couple minutes left. What do we do about this cancel culture?
You know what? I remember the first time I was canceled, and it was so painful, Larry. I mean, it brought me, without sounding melodramatic, it really brought me to my knees. I was in tears. I was praying to God that the pain would end. It's painful. It's scary.
Can you tell us what happened?
It's becoming so common. Well, I have a good thing to tell you is you survive it. You get over it. You realize it feels bigger than it really is. And I think that's the cancel mob's goal. They want to ostracize people. Nobody wants to feel ostracized, but we will survive being ostracized. But we need to stand out. We need to step up and speak out on things that don't make sense because otherwise we will not have a country. And it's not a crime to have traditional values. It's not a crime to love America. We need to speak out and support one another. If you see somebody being canceled, you need to speak out for them as well. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Kari, when you went home to your husband and said, honey, I just can't do this anymore, his reaction was?
Well, the great thing about my husband is he's really, he's such a good person, and he knew that for several years I've been kind of struggling. I've been seeing journalism change. I didn't like the way the media was going. And so I think he expected this day to come. I don't think he expected me to say, no, I really can't do this anymore. I can't do it. So it was just a matter of kind of, I think, first accepting, okay, what do we do without a paycheck, that the paycheck I have, and how do you kind of survive without that? And you make it work. I'm not saying everybody can afford to leave their job, and it will be a sacrifice. I'm looking at some other things out in the community. I want to stay in Arizona, and everything obviously will pay less than what I've been making. But I just have to be able to look my kids in the eye, to look in the mirror and realize working for money, just for a paycheck, is not the way to live. You have to work for something that's meaningful. And so I'm hoping God kind of steers me in the right direction, and I feel really very good about my decision. And I have to thank my employer. I know that sounds crazy because I've read some headlines where people have been critical. Fox has been wonderful. They've been very supportive. And I love the people there. You talked about the ratings going down. I don't know what the ratings will do. I hope they don't go down because I love the people who work there. I worked with people who really felt like family. This isn't about burning Fox or burning people I used to work with. I adore them, and I don't wish any ill will. I just couldn't do it anymore personally.
Well, Kari, thank you so much for, again, allowing us to be the first to hear your story. We really do appreciate it. I have a prediction. My prediction is the ratings are going to tumble. They're going to come back to you. They're going to say, Kari, can you just tell us what it is that's bothering you? Maybe we can reach some sort of accommodation. I got a feeling that's going to happen. I'm not saying you're going to bite. I'm just saying I got a feeling that's going to happen. So keep us posted, Kari.
Let me just say this, Larry, really quickly.
Sure.
You're so lucky because everything you say comes out of your mouth and from your brain. And that's totally different than reading news, right? When you're just speaking from the heart and soul and brain.
It is. Well, Kari, thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you, Larry. Bye-bye.